Oh shit, here we go again.
Hey peeps, how about we have a little research about certain order in certain fast food place from a certain video game. But first, thank you. I am aware that most of you already know the exact dishes I'm going to cook on this video, so I'm gonna be very brief on the lore behind it. And that's that lots of fans, including myself, were wondering what exactly was in that order. So after a very long and thoughtful investigation, I came to the conclusion that this is a video with all the answers I was looking for. So if you like, watch it. It's great, I promise. I said a very thoughtful investigation and based on another user's video. I'm so funny. Okay, if you already checked the video or just didn't check it at all, the Big Smoke order consists on 2 regular chicken fillet sandwiches, a large regular chicken fillet sandwich, an order of crispy chicken wings, 6 pieces with extra dip, a chicken fowl wrap, 2 regular chicken fowl burgers, which I suppose is like a chicken fillet sandwich but with some of the fowl wrap ingredients. Alright, as I usually do in my videos, we started this recipe from zero, and we'll be starting by the potato buns. The first thing that we need to do is to activate the dry yeast by adding a mix of 110 milliliters of water, 70 milliliters of evaporated milk, 25 grams of white sugar, and of course 5 grams of dry yeast. Mind that for the yeast to be activated properly, both liquids, milk and water, must be in a warm temperature, about 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 23 degrees Celsius. If it's too cold, then the dough will take way longer to rise, and if it's too hot, then the yeast won't work at all. Leave it to activate for around 15 minutes and it should be ready. For the rest of ingredients, if the mix is fluffy and bubbly, then it was well made. You can, of course, make the bread by hand or using a mixer. If you go for the mixer, put on the dough cook attachment, get everything in place, add the flour and start the engine. Let the dough integrate, and as soon the ingredients are turning into a 1 whole piece, add 1 whole egg, 3 grams of salt, 55 grams of melted butter, and finally 60 grams of mashed potatoes. Keep mixing until all the ingredients integrate completely. If it's needed, stop the mixer so you can scrape the walls of the bowl to continue to integrate. Now that the dough is ready, get some flour into the working table, place the dough, give it a few folds, shape it into a ball, and put it into another bowl or recipient so it can begin to rise. This will take it around an hour or so. In the meantime, we're going to prepare our chicken. In this case, we're gonna get 6 chicken fillets out of each chicken breast. And by each breast, I mean the 2 whole pieces of the chicken meat. I know it's not a very generous amount of chicken for a sandwich, but hey, fast food. We're also going to use 2 whole chicken wings and another chicken fillet, which I'm going to cut into tender size or nugget size, depends on your liking, for the other non-sandwich dishes. Next, the marinade and seasoning. So this is supposed to be a buttermilk marinade for the chicken fillet sandwiches, so that's what we're gonna use. Starting by adding some cajun seasoning to the buttermilk. As you may have noticed, if you watch my vids, I use a lot of cajun in my recipes, and that's probably because I really like cajun and it's my favorite seasoning ever, so yep. And the mix I use is the following: oregano, thyme, white pepper, black pepper, paprika, spicy paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, every spice on equal proportion except from the spicy spices like the pepper and the, spicy paprika, which are half of the amount. Of course we add some salt too, up to taste. Then pour your mix into a bowl containing your chicken, cover it with a kitchen plastic wrap and leave it into the fridge for at least 2 hours. And in total I had to use a whole chicken breast plus a fillet and 3 whole chicken wings. For the chicken part of the menu, of course. Here, another important part for the menu, the fries. According to my calculations, and some little research on my actual part, which I did just by checking on Google, on average, every medium-sized fries should weigh around 102 grams, and some large fries would be around 163 grams. So, with that information, the whole order should have 775 grams of fries. Doesn't sound like much, but hey, fast food. Here, the process is simple but a bit long, since I have to peel every potato and cut it on a similar shape of a regular fast food fry. Now let's get back to the buns. The dough has risen to its double size and it's ready to divide. Every piece of dough should weigh around 75 grams. So after all the dough is divided, shape them into a bun-like bowl, place them in an oven tray, and then let them rise again until it doubles its volume again, so we can finally bake them. But right before that, coat them in some egg wash and sprinkle a generous amount of sesame seeds. or just as much as we like. Now about the full wrapped up, which is basically a flour tortilla. This one is pretty simple. Just mix 100 grams of flour, a half teaspoon of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, and 50 milliliters of water. Integrate ingredients until the dough is formed, work it for a bit until it gets stretchy, and leave it to rest until it's needed. Back to the buns, again, the resin, again, and finally ready for the oven. 175 Celsius for 25 to 30 minutes. Now that we are done with the buns, we can focus on the chicken. Get in a square or rectangular recipient of your choice, add a generous amount of all-purpose flour, then prepare an oven tray or something similar to put the ready-to-fry pieces. Optionally, you can add some more spices into the flour. In this case, I added some powdered chili and a bit more of salt, and then proceed to cover the chicken with the seasoned flour. As for the wings, we're gonna take an extra step. We want the crust to be a little bit thicker, so what we're going to do is to cover the chicken wing pieces in flour, give it a quick dip in ice cold water, and get it into the flour again. Now the almost finally frying process. But first, remember the wrapped dough? We're gonna stretch it so we can cook it. Get some flour on your table, place the dough, get a rolling pin, and start flattening it as thin as you can. Remember not to use too much force, otherwise the dough is going to get back in place, it'll become too stretchy, and it's gonna have a very noticeable size reduction while cooking, and we do not want that. Get an anti-adherent pan, the wider the better, put it on mid-high heat, wait for the pan to heat up, and place the tortilla carefully. Let it pre-cook in one side, then turn it over. Give it around 30 seconds each side because it's gonna cook very quickly, and if you leave it into the heat for too long, it's gonna get dry and it'll break very easily. That means it's gonna crumble over itself when you try to make the wrap. Anyways, next, the fries. Heat up your frying oil up to 175 degrees Celsius. We're going to pre-cook the fries. Let them cool and then refry them on a higher temperature, 180 degrees Celsius. This method is gonna make them crispier and keep them that way for a longer time. As for the chicken, get a big pot, fill it with abundant oil, let it heat on mid-high, and just place the chicken piece by piece very carefully until it gets golden brown. Well, not much to say after this, except thank you very much for the 100 subs, and once again, thank you for watching, enjoy.
Number 9. A number 9 large. A number 6 with extra dip. A number 7. 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese. And a large soda.